The anti-vaccination conspiracy theory that vaccinating children can cause autism exploded in the early 2000s after a discredited doctor published a fraudulent and false study. The issue was spread by some celebrities and well-organized groups on social media, causing the conspiracy theory to gain traction, and an increase in non-medical exemptions for mandatory vaccinations. As a result, there has been a 30% increase in the previously eradicated disease, measles, and the World Health Organization called vaccine hesitancy one of the top 10 global threats to world health in 2019. Doctors have requested that social media accounts like Facebook have the same standards for health information that pharmaceuticals companies and advertisers do. At the very least, Facebook needs to do more to shut down these harmful groups or remove misinformation. Doctors and advocates say, in this case, fake news is once again deadly. Although it is commonly debated, vaccines will not overwhelm your children's immune system. It all comes down to antigens. Vaccines contain ingredients called antigens, which tell the body's immune system to create antibodies. Antibodies are a blood protein produced in response to and counteracting a specific antigen. Antibodies combine chemically with substances which the body recognizes as alien, such as bacteria, viruses, and foreign substances in the blood. A vaccine is designed to prevent serious or even deadly diseases by working with the body's natural defenses to help it safely develop immunity to harmful viruses. Several vaccines have been so successful that we hardly encounter certain diseases in the United States. For example, prior to the HIP vaccine, hip disease was the leading cause of bacterial meningitis among children ages 5 and younger. In other words, the antigens in vaccines come from germs themselves, but the germs are weakened or killed, so they cannot cause serious illness. Vaccines contain only a tiny fraction of the antigens that babies encounter every day in their natural environment. Kids are exposed to 2,000 to 6,000 antigens every day. Every day, a healthy child's immune system successfully fights off thousands of antigens. Hundreds of medical studies completed over many decades by credible and respected doctors and scientists across the world have found that vaccines for the majority of children and adults are safe. Currently, the United States has the safest, most effective vaccine supply in its history. Clinical trials are conducted to evaluate the safety and effectiveness of a vaccine before it can even be brought to the market. Although some oppose to this practice, vaccines are first tested in laboratory studies and on animal studies. If the results indicate that the vaccine is safe, additional testing in people must be done before the vaccine can be approved by the Food and Drug Administration. This means that by the time a vaccine is offered to the public, it has been studied for at least 15 to 20 years in tens of thousands of study participants by thousands of scientists and healthcare providers. Even though children may receive more vaccines to prevent against diseases now compared to 30 years ago, the actual number of antigens in vaccines is dramatically less than decades ago because vaccine technology has improved, making them way more efficient. In 1890, the recommended vaccines contained more than 15,096 antigens. Today, vaccines only contain 173 antigens and 12 vaccines that protect children and teens against 16 preventable diseases. A strep throat infection, for example, exposes children to 25 to 50 antigens. That's comparable to the antigens in vaccines that infants get at their 2-month visit, just to 54 antigens. Immunizations can save your child's life. Because of advances in medical science, your child can be protected against more diseases than ever before. Some diseases that can once injured or killed thousands of children have been eliminated completely, and others are close to extinction, primarily due to safe and effective vaccines. Polio is one example of the great impact that vaccines have had in the United States. Polio was once America's most feared disease, causing health and paralysis across the country. But today, there are no reports of polio in the United States, all thanks to vaccination. Serious side effects following vaccination, such as severe allergic reaction, are actually very rare. This disease prevention benefits are much more important than vaccines, are much greater than value side effects for almost all children. Immunization protects others you care about. Children in the United States still get vaccine-preventable diseases. In fact, we have seen resurgences of measles and whooping cough over the past few years. Since 2010, there have been between 10,000 and 50,000 cases of whooping cough each year in the United States, and about 10 to 20 babies, many of which who were too young to be fully vaccinated. They died that year. While some babies were too young to be protected by vaccinations, others may not be able to receive certain vaccinations due to severe allergies, weakened immune systems from conditions like leukemia or other reasons. To help keep them safe, it is important that you and your children were able to get vaccinated or fully immunized. That is not only to protect your family, but also helps prevent the spread of these diseases to your friends and loved ones. To be fully immunized, children need all doses of vaccines in the recommended schedule. If your child does not receive a full number of doses, they are vulnerable to serious diseases. Check with your child's doctor to find out if your baby is due for any vaccinations. It is important to your child's health to be up to date on immunizations. Giving babies the full recommended vaccines by the age of 2 is the best way to protect them from 14 serious childhood diseases. A child with vaccine-preventable disease can be denied attendance at school or child care facilities. Some vaccine-preventable diseases can result in prolonged disabilities and take a financial toll because of lost time at work, medical bills, or long-time disability care. In contrast, getting vaccinated against these diseases is a good investment and usually covered by insurance. Serious diseases are still out there. Vaccines are one of the top public health achievements because they have reduced or even eliminated many diseases. Thanks to vaccines, most young parents have never seen the devastating effects of diseases like polio, measles, or whooping cough, and never noticed what they can experience on a child, family, or community. It is easy to think that these diseases are of the past, but they do still exist. Children in the United States can and do still get some of these diseases. In fact, when vaccination rates are low in a community, it's not uncommon for an outbreak to occur. Diseases don't just stop at the borders, and they can spread easily. Measles are rare in the United States because of vaccination, but it's still common around the world. Unvaccinated travelers who are infected while abroad can easily bring the diseases to the United States. After reaching the United States, measles can spread quickly among unvaccinated people. In 2014, the United States had a record number of 667 measles cases, were associated with cases brought from the Philippines, which experienced a large measles outbreak. Most of these people were not vaccinated or didn't even know if they were vaccinated, and nearly all of the cases were associated with international travel. From January 1st to July 14th, 2018, 107 people from 21 states were reported to have measles. The majority of these people who got measles were not vaccinated. Although your child or you may experience some discomfort or tenderness at the injection site, this is minor compared to the serious complications that can result from the measles and diseases that vaccines can prevent. Immunization protects future generations. Vaccines have reduced and in some cases eliminated many diseases that killed or severely disabled people in just generations ago. For example, smallpox vaccination eradicated that disease around the world. Children don't have to get smallpox shots anymore because this disease no longer exists. By vaccinating children against rubella, which is German measles, the risk that pregnant women will pass this virus onto their fetus or newborn has dramatically decreased, and birth defects associated with that virus are no longer seen in the United States. If we continue vaccinating now and vaccinating completely, parents in the future may be able to trust that some diseases today will no longer be around to harm their children in the future. Vaccinations protect you, your family, and your friends, and your community. As new information and science becomes available, vaccine recommendations are updated. Vaccination is not just a personal choice. It should be mandatory for all of us. The vaccinated community helps to protect those who are not vaccinated, also known as the community immunity. Simply put, when a person is vaccinated, they prevent disease from being spread to others in the community, such as babies who are too young to receive vaccines, unvaccinated children and adults, pregnant women, the elderly, individuals with weakened immune system, such as those with asthma, chronic illness, or people who are undergoing treatment for cancer, and individuals who are allergic to the vaccine components. Enough people need to be vaccinated for these diseases to be eradicated. If you don't get your vaccination, you are a part of the failure to contribute to the public good. Those avoiding these vaccinations are unaware that their child might nonetheless benefit from protection on account of herd immunity. You also are not aware of the impact of health choices on the vulnerable, and we are all aware that health is communal. If too many people treat the scientific consensus on climate change as just one perspective, that will hinder our ability to respond to massive changes already going underway. In the similar matter, treating this science on vaccines is just one perspective that negatively impacts everyone.
And now I'm going to show my audience.